Ugh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Vulnerable Conversations over tea with your host, Adam Bice and Jarrod Bice. Um, Today, we're going a bit off key. I, myself, ran out of milk, so I am enjoying a kombucha, a passion fruit one from Aldi. Highly recommend. Adam, what are you bringing to the table today?
I mean, we may as well not even do the podcast.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
Let's
it's
just
silly.
pack
It
it up.
feels wrong. Agreed.
That's right. I can feel your vibes are still there.
Yeah.
I'll let the kombucha, whatever you want to call it, go. Um, yeah, I've got a white tea, so I don't need any milk, luckily.
Mm.
It's a white herbal tea. I'm really getting into my different teas now that I'm trying a few. Like I never thought. I thought it'd always just be a black tea but and you can, because it's really hot here at the moment, you can cool them and like
Mm.
drink it cold as well, which is lovely.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
So, and without caffeine, you can drink it all the time.
How good. You can have 6 or 7 a day.
Yeah, go through, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Going to toilet a lot.
Yeah, so
Um,
very successful episode we had with our first guest, which is
yep,
exciting. So
yep.
thanks to Sean, if
Shout
you're
out to Sean.
listening. Thank you for coming on. It was really,
Mm.
um,
Was special.
yeah, I think so. And I think I'll definitely have to get him back at some point too.
Mm.
There's a lot of things there, which is good. Um, yeah, so we'll be planning for the next guest then,
Yeah, great.
because we want to keep getting people on. Um, but yeah, so thank you for listening, and
Mm.
yeah, we'll get into it. Hey,
Yep. We'll keep providing the content. Um, Last episode we brought up um a question that has kind of stuck with me ever since. And I remember I had a full day after our last recorded episode where it just like beat me to a pulp, just constant in my brain. And that was
can you tell us more about that experience? Like, what do you mean when you say beat me to a pulp? Like, or pretty
so
vulnerable?
yeah, of course. So we had a yeah, wow. So we recorded an episode a couple of weeks back now.
Was that Jared's soul?
No, it was Deep Healing.
Oh,
I think
deep
the one.
healing.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, yeah.
And me and you had both just listened to a podcast where it was an ex um it was an excerpt from one of the people that we follow, one of his talks,
Eric
Eric
Godsey.
Godsey. Yeah. And he asked the question to everyone in the crowd, um, why do you think you're not good enough? Along those lines. I think it was along the lines of why do you think you're not great? But I just got stuck in my head. Just the amount of times that I haven't backed myself throughout my life and the amount of times I haven't felt enough in social situations or just to myself. Um, and yeah, that day was so rough. Like we finished the podcast, I was fine then, and then I just stopped and I laid on my floor for like an hour, and just that phrase just kept going around in my head. And usually I would escape at this point, right, and either play video games or just find an escape quickly. But the practice has told me to not do that.
Stop and listen.
Stop and listen and really pay attention to it and listen to it, make sure it's heard. Because it's obviously a part of me, right? Like if it's a part of my brain that's showing itself, like, the least I can do is listen. So yeah, I listened and had a really, yeah, I just felt shit. Like confidence was low. And it just makes like, I don't know if you experience this, but when you, like, obviously I've experienced my confidence lifting over this year, like a lot from doing the practice. But when you, yeah, get stuck in though, like that low confidence self-worth again, like, wow, yeah, it's a hit. It's a real hit. Um, but yeah, so I just sat with it and then for ages, for a few hours, just not doing anything. And then I went for a run and I didn't record it, but I wish I recorded it because I reckon I would have PB'd because I was like, I was flying the whole way and I never fly. But then, yeah, and it was, yeah, and then I got back and sat with it some more. And I didn't get an answer or anything, but I just, yeah, went to sleep, woke up the next day and felt better.
Mm.
But it was a tough day.
Mm.
That's for sure.
Yeah. You need those, it's like that shadow, hey, like you can't, like the sun, as much as it provides light, always gives a shadow, and you need those
Yeah.
down days.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've got your practice there, which is good, and doesn't mean you're through it, because like we can do external things like to get confidence, right? We can,
Yeah.
or to think we then have the image of confidence.
Yeah.
Because you can say like, oh yeah, I presented here, I have more confidence, and
Yeah.
but it's all like confidence in the ego.
Yeah.
Real self-belief is something different, isn't it? It's like, and like you
Yeah.
said, like you might be more confident, but you still have that belief deep down that when that
Yeah.
inner child is triggered, and
Yeah.
this is why triggers are so cool, because there's obviously something that triggered that.
Mm.
Like there's some real there, isn't there? And
Yeah.
like it's gonna keep coming up. It's gonna keep coming to the surface until you do, I guess, sit with it. And it's gonna be with you your whole life, but
Yeah.
you can't action is only one part of it. Like you have to listen to it and sit with it
Yeah. And
and go
accept
through
it,
it.
right? Like, welcome. So
This
after the
is
fact, upon reflection, right, some beliefs came up.
the reflection.
Yeah. And it's just like things that the same kind of, I guess, part of my brain that doesn't feel good enough. I could relate some beliefs to that. And I wrote them down because you've been on my back about journaling quite a lot. And I think
It's
it
not
really
me, it's the
helps.
universe.
It's the universe, exactly.
Maybe me
Um,
too.
yeah. So it begs the question, like, um, you asked me what about being good enough is the issue. So you can go two ways, right? Do I feel, if I believe in myself, do I then have to be good enough? And if I'm not good enough, if I fail, I had the potential, I just didn't make it. You know what I mean? That hurts. Or is it the fear that I'm not good enough in the first place? And that question really sat with me for a while, and it's definitely the first one. It's the feeling that, it's the knowing that we are these beautiful, amazing creatures, and then you have to, you know, go out and be this beautiful, amazing creature, but you've had these beliefs of what makes a beautiful, amazing creature that don't really align with the truth.
Yeah, with who you feel you really are.
Which is, which is the beautiful, amazing creature, right? But
Yes.
not the societal domestication one.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so yeah,
No,
go.
sorry, I just have something really like, I know
Yeah.
it's just crazy how I've had something really cool this week that I'll share eventually, but it's on
Mm,
the exact same thing, so I'm keen to hear what you
yeah.
have to
Awesome.
say about that, because like you said, right, there's this true self
Yeah.
and it is beautiful and amazing, and then you got this belief of what be beautiful and amazing and what character you need to be.
Mm,
And it's that inner conflict.
yeah. They don't align. Yeah. So I just came up with some characteristics that I'll run through of what beliefs I think make a great person. And then I wrote down traits from people that I admire.
Mm.
Um,
So your beliefs versus people you admire.
yeah, which I would say, or things that I resonate with, right?
Yeah.
So,
And like these aren't necessarily, this is like your beliefs. When you say your beliefs, it's not something you've chosen to believe in. This is your mind
correct.
rule book,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, which we'll go into
Yeah.
in a bit. But just to go through some of them, like things that I believe make a great person. Emotional stability. Everyone likes them. Strong, never falters. They never make mistakes. They know it all, and they're always happy. Like that's in my mind. If I achieved those things, I would be a great person. And then when I bring to mind people that I admire or like resonate with, and I think they're awesome and great and beautiful, I think they have a lot of passion and they are really chaotic in their expressions. Um, they split the world into two with their, I guess, ideas and beliefs. Like they're not always loved. You know what I mean? They spark people's hate as well. They spark both sides. They cry and embrace fragility. They thrive in failure. They love learning, always the student. They don't know it all. And they embrace both the good and the bad, right? Instead of just always being happy. So I think a part of meeting myself at a good enough stance would be moving towards those beliefs that, yeah, I think is already in me, which is a cool thing.
Yeah. And like when you, I guess, sat with your emotion the other week and you were thinking about it, like that's emotional instability. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's even you just moving towards, a bit more chaos instead of like if you distracted and like didn't think about that and went and played games or whatever, like trying to keep yourself in that belief that I need to be emotionally stable. I can't think about those things.
Yeah.
I can't be chaotic. Can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. And I just quickly on that, I did that day, but I had another tough day yesterday and I did play a lot of video games. So,
That's
it's like
okay too.
yeah, agreed. And I just let myself, like, if this is what you need, like, not, yeah. So both sides, I think.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You don't need to be
Yeah.
exactly perfect.
Yeah.
That's another value you want to go to. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Cool,
letting
man.
myself.
Yeah, it's a lot of, that strong masculine figure, isn't it? It's like
Mm.
that emotional stability.
Yeah.
It's crazy because we think that emotional stability is not showing emotions.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you do that, um, you always avoid your emotions and you don't learn about your emotions, then you don't have any self-regulation or
Yeah.
ability to regulate your nervous system, which is what emotional regulation is. And no one can avoid the fact that everyone's got a nervous system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone's got a flight, fight, freeze response. Everyone can be triggered. That's a human thing. And to see it as weakness to be able to embrace that cycle that is innate within us, within our nervous system, we're meant to get heightened
Yeah.
and triggered, but it's about then regulating and coming back. That's the learning process of emotional regulation versus the stability, which is always just to block it out. And you see a lot of people, especially in the masculine, I've always thought it's like, yeah, well, they think they're not emotional, but they show a lot of anger and frustration, and then that's an emotion too. But anyway, I think that the next generational wealth isn't necessarily money or fame or anything.
It's that.
It's emotional regulation.
Wow.
And like if there's one thing in life that I want to pass down to my kids, it's that. And I think that's the capital. That's your family capital. We talk about that in teaching. Like each different kid has, come from a different background. So they might have different things and you know what I mean? And I think the real wealth is there. The real gold is in that. But anyway, that's just a venture off.
Yeah, cool. No, that's awesome. That's a beautiful thought for the future.
I think we have to, man. I think that's we are
Can't bury it
becoming more
anymore,
accepting.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, it doesn't lead to where we want to be by burying.
Yeah.
As a society.
Yeah, because kids get too much information now, man. They know about everything. You can't hide people away anymore like you used to. You know what I mean? Like kids see everything and they know all these words and everything, and they don't know how to deal with it though.
Yeah.
Like their brains aren't ready for a lot of what they're learning and seeing, which can be impactful. But anyway, different topic. But yeah, thank you for sharing.
Of course. You've had some downloads this week.
Yeah, I'd like to get into it. It is a lot around last weekend.
Yep.
This would be like 3 weekends ago by the time this comes out, or maybe 4. I did a collaboration with Holly Flows.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of to, for her to, I guess, raise awareness for mental health and to try and, I guess we we're both just trying to promote, mental health and the mindfulness activities that we can do. So we did a meditation and healing and sound bowls in nature.
Cool.
And yeah, it was funny. Puts a lot of people off that, healing bowls and, meditation and which was hard for me to kind of get my head around because I knew a lot of people that I knew wouldn't come, you know what I mean? Like, but it's obvious, it's really cool too because a lot of people did come and that was kind of scary. There was like 25 people there.
Yeah, wow.
And the cool thing was, it was all people that wanted to do that type of thing. So it was a brand new world for me, very brand new world. And it's something I really care about and I want to share with people. So it kind of triggered a lot of things in me. And it's like these triggers keep coming up, hey, and like that's where the real gold is.
Yeah.
And so yeah, last week was a really, really tough day last Sunday. It wasn't, I was prepared. I've had a few really big weeks at work, quite stressful instances, and I think I've dealt with it quite well, but that having time to yourself, I know when I need time to myself, and I just hadn't got that before that, so I hadn't sat with my thoughts much.
Yeah.
I can tell when I'm not necessarily right mentally when I want to avoid being by myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't sit with me and want to be sitting with me for longer than 10 minutes. I need to distract. So that's when I like really know I need some time. But yeah, so I had a big week and going into that was, like there was normal fear and worries and it wasn't too bad. Like I was, I knew I was overcoming a fear of, presenting meditations. I don't think that part's a fear because I love presenting and, I love teaching but it's something when you really care about something, you want to do well, don't you? And yeah, so I did it and everything was good. It was when I got home later and after I talked to you, yeah, I started to get really, really negative thoughts. Quite bad. Real anxiety. Yeah, so that brought up a few things. Sat with it, talked about it with people, which helped as well. But then this week, I've given myself some time and space, and I've done so much reflection, and I've had one of the biggest breakthroughs I think I've ever had.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get into what that breakthrough was, but we want to go through a lens, a book that's really helped me get there lately. And it's not a spiritual book. I think everyone should read this book. It's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Luis. And he so elegantly puts the human condition and conditioning into perspective, and he just so simply explains it. And I would listen to this book before, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and when I listened to it this time, I was obviously not listening the first time because I was ready to listen and take in his words this time, and holy moly, man, like this guy he's done the work. He has processed everything and he's experienced and he's turned it into wisdom. And I think it's not a spiritual book. It's a book on life and it would help everyone. But if you want to explain, I guess the domestication and what he talks about like at the start, you want to go into that and then I can go into some of like the beliefs and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. So my breakdown or what I gathered from it was I agreed with what you say, like how he just so bluntly puts that we have been brought up in this world to follow beliefs through a process called domestication. It's this process that society and our parents have taught us on how to stay alive, how to survive, how to do well, how to be happy.
It's based on consequence and punishment, isn't it? Like
yeah, good
reward
point.
and punishment is how
is how we get there. So our parents teach us this system or society, right? That when you do good, negative things happen. When you do bad, negative things happen. And when you do good, you get rewarded, right? So it's a reward consequence system. But the basis of good and bad is determined by society and beliefs.
You just raised your hand.
Yeah, is determined by society and our parents. So by the time, we're grown up, we've got this ingrained sense of beliefs. And what happens is we don't really get to decide what those beliefs are. So when we go out and we, don't, or we do a bad thing that we've been taught is a bad thing, we will, to our mind, give ourselves consequence and judge and, he says this one thing that we will punish ourselves 1,000 times over to, I don't know, enforce this belief, when in reality, right, like someone does something wrong, you can, it's okay. You know what I mean? So he explains that our mind is the worst punisher for when we do wrong things based on these beliefs.
Yeah, he talks about like we're the only animal on this planet. A dog could, do something bad, consequence, bang, thinks about it, learns. Could go and do the exact same. Yeah, but could go and do the same thing again, like short-term memory. Like we're the only ones that something could happen years ago.
Yeah.
And we're still punishing ourselves.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy. And like you said, like, it's what we're punishing ourselves for is just an agreement or a belief that we learn early on in life about how we should be, and we create a judge. Everyone's got a judge in their mind, right? And the judge rules our mind, and when we step outside of one of those beliefs, it's punishment. It is and like something for me, it was like, because he talks about the human word, right, and the power it carries. And how do we get these beliefs? How do we create? And he kind of calls beliefs like a rule book, like your 10 commandments, whatever you want to do. Like you got a book of these rules, and he calls them rules, agreements, or beliefs, like your 4 agreements. And so the human word carries weight. So you're a little kid, right, and you don't know how to interpret the world, okay, and your parents say to you, you're lazy. Like they're saying you need to be like this. So you're lazy. So you're lazy. You're not good at this. You're righto. So then that weight of that word, as a little kid, you either have a choice to agree with that or not agree with that. No, I'm not lazy. I'm not what they think I am, which is very hard to do. And so as soon as we agree to that word, that becomes a rule. I am lazy if I do this. If I behave this way, then my parents won't love me. I won't fit in. So it's like I have to abide by these rules. Otherwise, the judge will, come down on me.
Yeah. And then the victim shows itself, and I am this person who is bad or dumb or lazy. You know what I mean? Like I am this. So the judge comes down on another part of the mind, the victim, and the victim believes it. And that's,
And the judge feeds off that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's about keeping ourselves in this box, our minds, so we stay safe. Like we learn that, because like it's a survival strategy. It wants to keep us safe, and then we agreed upon early enough that it wasn't safe to do these things.
Yep.
And that's what the agreements are. That's what our rule book is. It's an agreed upon thing with ourselves that we need to behave or be a certain way. Otherwise, we deserve to be punished. We're not
Yep.
good. We're not this.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's just like kind of the idea, I guess, of domestication and where our beliefs and things come from.
Yep.
And then our judge and our victim in our mind that has that. Do you have any more on that part, or?
Just one thing that he says that I think is really powerful, that 95% of those beliefs are false.
At least.
At
That
least.
rocked me, man. Like
Mm,
because I listened to that the Monday.
mm,
Godsey put up a post and he was talking about the book.
mm,
So it just triggered me to, I've got to listen to that again.
mm.
And when he said that, it's like the punishment I had put myself through, that mental torture on the Sunday after I did the meditation, 95%
Yep.
of what I believe is false.
It's false.
It's not true.
So it's all happening in your mind, this suffering, this, like it's a construct that's, well, belief that's been brought up in your mind, and then the judge and the victim is all suffering. That as you know, I believe that it's real. I believe that thoughts and all that are real, but it's
Doesn't mean they're true.
doesn't mean they're true,
And
right?
that's what he says too, is like, we're just dreaming.
Yeah.
When we're dreaming and we're asleep, we're literally dreaming.
Yeah.
All right. But that is happening within our bodies and our minds, and it can affect us. And then we wake up and we're dreaming. Like,
Yeah.
yes, there's physical things and we think this thing reality, right? But our reality is based upon our beliefs, and it forms a lens on the way that we see the world. So I'm walking through the world each day, coming at it through a lens of my beliefs. If I'm a victim and I'm not good enough and I can't see any positivity and I hate my life, and I'm gonna see my world that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or if if I'm not good enough and I need to be, for me, like perfectionism, just such a crazy word because it's not about being perfect. Anyway, we'll get to that. Yeah, it's like none of it is reality because it's all a projection.
It is.
You
It
know
is
what I mean?
real though. Like it is
In our minds, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
real.
It's all a dream.
Yeah.
It's all real to us,
Yeah.
but it's all a dream.
Yeah.
Like reality is a dream that we're living because it's how we perceive the world around us. Like I walk past you, I'm making an assumption of how you thought based on what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You thought of me, and that's all just an assumption. It's all a dream. None of it is real because I can't mind read. I can't predict the future. I can't like the past can't actually hurt me, but all those things are actually happening. My brain is constantly predicting the future, planning, assuming what you think, like trying to find where it fits in the world, and based on past experiences.
Yep. And listening and hearing what it wants to hear.
Yep.
Confirmation bias.
100%. It'll just look so like, we could all look at the exact same experience and experience, like 100 people could. You're going to get 100 people experience it differently. So what is reality? Like it's all subjective. And it's based on a lot of false limiting beliefs.
At the moment, yes.
So we'll go into the four agreements are, the first one is be impeccable with your word. And when I hear that, I think, I need to tell the truth. And that I need to be honest with people. It's not actually what he's meaning. He means that your word carries weight. So how you talk to yourself and how you talk to other people affects you. So if I tell you you're dumb, all right? If you choose to believe that, that's an agreement you've created with yourself, and that's a belief, right? I am dumb. But it actually carries weight to me too, because if you then believe that, you're going to hate me. So my word, saying that one thing, if you agree with it, creates like hate. It's there's power there. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And
On
then
both sides.
exactly. And if I think that I am dumb, like that's a word to myself as well. So it's how I speak to myself and how I speak to other people affects my world, because if I'm speaking to you negative, there's going to be negative energy there. And if
Yeah.
I'm speaking myself negative, it's like, so it's everything.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have any more to add to that one?
Just that. I kind of related it to just being truthful to yourself and expressing the energy that you believe to be true is the best way to approach it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's that, exactly. So it's how you talk to yourself. Are you telling
Yep.
yourself the truth? Are you
Yep.
believing these false beliefs? Everything.
I think a good place to start is that you probably 99% of people listening will have false beliefs.
Yeah. 100% of you have false. Everyone does, man. Like
Yeah,
there's
great.
no,
Yeah, that's yeah.
like there's no, and that's what I mean. Like people grow up in different societies, it's going to be completely different. Like, so who's right and who's wrong? There's no. But second agreement. So the 4 agreements. So the first one's be impeccable with your word. So it's about, just knowing that your weight, how you talk to yourself, how to talk to others, tell yourself the truth, those things. Second one is don't take things personally. So if I call you dumb, you have a choice. You can, and it could be unconscious or conscious, right? You can choose to believe that or you're not. If you choose to believe that, that's an agreement you're making with yourself. And this is what I like as well. It's because we are all responsible for ourselves as much as other people can impact you. There's no doubt there, right? Trauma and everything. The only way of healing is to take responsibility for and accept like where I'm at. And there's real power in that. If you don't take that personally, then it doesn't affect you and it doesn't necessarily affect me. So there's like, I love that quote. It's like, we think we need to do these big things to change the world. And we need to, I need to get all this money or have all this power. You can change the world in every moment, like by healing yourself. And how you then go out and be to people in the world has real impact. And yeah, so I think if I don't take things personally, it helps me because I'm not reactive and I'm not triggered. And it helps the people around me as well because I'm not that it's easy. But it's about too, everyone's got their own stuff going on. You don't know what someone's beliefs are. You don't know how much they're being punished in their own mind.
And
Everything
it's
someone says.
I promise
I call
it's a
you
lot.
dumb. That's because I'm not feeling good in myself. Right. And that's me. Like misery loves company. It does. I'm trying to drag you down with me because my mind is going in my own head full tilt at me. And I don't know how to deal with it.
Agreed.
And it's just a release.
I think the best way, because you call me dumb, right? Brene Brown talks about this, how you can either go 2 ways from that. You can either go, I did something dumb, or I am dumb. Right? And I think that if you believe as yourself, as like, this is a truth in my mind, right? Like, I am a forever changing person, right? Every moment to moment to moment changing. So it can't be personal. You know what I mean? If you called Jarrod dumb, I'm already like, that Jarrod did a dumb thing. You know what I mean? Like, agreed. But that's not me right now.
That's a beautiful way of looking at it. But if you sit there and you believe it though, then it becomes one of those beliefs. Or if it is already one of your beliefs, it's confirming it. Isn't it? And that's when there's a trigger because it's that part of your mind, oh no, I'm being dumb. My brain's going to punish me. So I need to there's a consequence there.
Yeah.
Like we learned that we can't be dumb.
Yeah.
Agreed. Like, but that's a beautiful way of, and that's consciousness we can bring to the moment, right?
Yeah, and then you don't have to fight back, and you can be in that dumb moment with that person, right? And you can
It doesn't even have to be like that level. It's like it is genuinely about the other person.
Yeah.
So like that's a great, and these little ways of looking at things. And that's the power of reflection, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you can reflect on it through that lens, or you can be like, it's about this person, what they were going through, whatever way you want to do it.
Yeah.
It's that power of reflection.
Yeah. It's not personal.
It's not personal, man. They're living their own dream.
Yeah.
We can't understand other people's dreams as much as we want to empathize, and you can't live someone else's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the third one, cool too. Don't assume.
Ask questions.
Yeah. We all do it, don't we? Our mind is constantly. We think we can read minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I walk into a situation and I see you look a certain way. I'm like, oh no, he's angry at me. So then I'm come up to you, I'm like, what's your problem? I haven't done anything. Why are you angry?
Yeah.
And I've just created this whole energy in the room because I've taken it personal. And, sorry, I've assumed that you're angry, and I've assumed it's about me. So I've taken it personally. Exactly. Because you're just sitting there in your own mind.
Yeah. Doing the same thing to someone else.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just funny, man. I think about it at the gym sometimes, and I'm like, I get so self-conscious at the gym. And it's just because you're in close proximity of people just in their own world, right? Because no one really interacts. It's a funny space. And I just look around, like, no one's even noticed me, man. Everyone's so caught up in their own world.
Yeah.
Someone might look at you and dig something, but it doesn't mean anything. Like,
yeah, great.
Everyone's got to think that the way our mind, and I guess it's perception of threat, right? It needs to know where it fits constantly to feel safe.
Yeah.
But it's so silly to think that everything is about us. Everything other people do is about us. And every time we're assuming.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to let go of. Well, you can, right? He talks about asking questions in the book to finding out. So you can stop assuming, right? So you can know the truth. But I think also another powerful thing is letting go of knowing the truth. Because, I mean, can you? Realistically? Probably not.
No, it's subjective. Someone's truth is different to your truth. Like, it's experience, isn't it? It's all just chaos.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, when you catch yourself, like I found it I played with it quite a bit. Like when you catch yourself projecting onto a situation where you don't know all the facts, like let go. You don't know.
You don't know.
You can't know. And if you want to know, go ask questions. Get people's opinion.
And that's why it is that catching it, isn't it? And that's the practice because you're going to have these thoughts. It's not about not doing it.
Yeah.
It's just that little bit of space. You take something really personal, and I'm like, oh no. And then because your body experiences this whole, your nervous system goes into flight mode or fight mode, or that little bit of space just makes your world better. Like it's not about the other person. It's about how you want to experience this world. And do you want? So like, and that's just reminding you each morning, like those words. And it's not, and that's the beauty of the fourth agreement. Just try your best. Because if you think you need to be impeccable with your word, not take things personally, and not assume, you're just judging yourself all day. And that's the irony of it, isn't it? Like, and that's what he says. It's not about doing those things perfectly, and it's just about trying your best. And at every moment, if you know you've given your best And your best is different moment to moment. But if you know you've given your best at those things,
Yeah.
what else is there?
Yeah.
You don't need to punish yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've always found a beautiful way to look back is if now that you know this information, right? An hour ago you didn't know this information. So you were doing your best without this information.
100%.
Right. And that's a beautiful place to start, that you have always done your best based
that's the
on the beliefs
power.
that you were taught. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't get a say. But
And like that is reflection, isn't it?
mm,
So next time might be a little bit better. Who knows?
yeah,
Or you might
yeah,
be. But when we don't reflect,
yeah,
we assume we were right.
yeah,
And we
Yep.
just keep going that day with that energy.
yeah,
And we then transfer that energy to someone else and to someone else. And
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
it's like alchemy, isn't it? It creates, but it just takes one person to be like. And that's why I don't know. I think we need some type of practice.
Mm,
Doesn't have to be meditation or journaling, but like some type of reflection. Could be going for a walk through nature. You know what I mean? Where everything just catches up with us
yeah,
in our mind, and you stop and you listen to it, and it just processes all those things. Because like, how much less triggering is something the day after than it was the day before? Usually, anyway. And you can look back, you're like, oh man,
Agreed.
probably the circumstance didn't match my reaction. My reaction was way worse than probably the experience was. But
Exactly. But it's always hard when you're in it. Like yesterday,
100%.
like end of the world, world's crashing in. Today, woke up, good sleep. I love myself. You know what I mean? And I think that's the beauty of the saying, this too shall pass, right? Like,
This too shall pass.
and you have to, I mean, we entered this consciousness to experience both.
Yeah.
So,
So leading to where I got to. So
yeah,
after like listening to all this again and going through all that, right?
Mm.
And
I'm excited for this.
yeah, man, this has like been a whole week thing where I came out the other side, and it was just pages and pages of journaling that got me there. And it didn't happen the first day, it didn't happen the second. It's like little bits. It's just added on. It's like things you've said to me. It's things I listen to Godsey. It's this book. Like, I've listened to some great podcasts this week, as well. And, you know, when you just listen to something, you feel like they're talking to you. Because like, this just happened to me. Um, so yeah, like, I don't know. So two, like, I have this dream, right? I want to share this spiritual or healing journey with other people, right? So doing this meditation in front of like 25 people, wasn't prepared for that. You know, this is my dream. And Godsey posted something the other day. It's like it wasn't his video, but it was, can't remember who it was. But he says, the bigger the dream, the bigger the shadow. So if you place a small bottle under the sun, it'll cast a small shadow. Right? So the light will cast a small shadow. So there might be, so like when I've presented in front of people before,
Wow.
I haven't been that triggered. You know what I mean? Like I'm a teacher. I do this every day. Like I present in front of hundreds of people, you know. But then you take a big bottle, right, or a big object, and it casts this massive shadow. And all in the shadow, it's all your insecurities, all your self-doubt, all your triggers, everything.
Yeah.
So like I guess that shadow, even though I did it, this shadow was there and it brought up a lot of things for me, right? That I hadn't. And you can do a lot of meditation and you can do a lot of spiritual and like healing and talk about things. I think until you really make yourself vulnerable to something that really matters to you, like, and that shadows there, there's a lot more. Like, it's almost like spiritual bypass, isn't it? Like, you convince yourself, oh, everything's all good because I'm just distracting myself, really. Like, oh, yeah, I'm doing the work when I'm not really.
Yeah.
So I guess it rang up a lot of stuff. And I always have thought, I've talked about this before, right? This fear, I fear how people will perceive me. You know what I mean? That's just I'm a bit of an anxious, empathetic, emotional person, right? I want people to be comfortable. I don't want
Yep.
people, and there's reasons, I've talked about this before. I don't like seeing people in pain, especially people I let in close, because so I want people to like me. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought that was the fear. I thought I was fearing how people perceive me or presenting or, you know, but I guess like what I really, and this took me a long time, like, and I wrote this, is like when we feel the need to escape ourselves. So when I was having these fears, worries, stress, anxiety after the event, all I wanted to do was escape. It wasn't because of the fears.
Yep.
It wasn't because of the worries. It's because I couldn't accept myself in that moment, who I was.
Mm.
I couldn't love myself.
Mm.
Like I was, and we talk about this, right? And we talk about the beliefs and rule book. And like you said exactly at the start, I have this list of rules
Mm.
that make this perfect image that I think I need to be accepted by everyone, for everyone to like me.
Yep.
And I thought I wasn't that.
Mm.
And then that's when I just started punishing myself.
Yeah.
And oh man, it was fucking brutal.
Yep.
Like my brain went ham on that. Like I was trying to predict everything everyone thought, and it was all coming out negative.
Yep.
And I thought I'd let Holly down.
Mm.
I thought, I messed this up for her. I thought, I'm never going to have this opportunity again. Like, this is my dream. It's gone,
Yeah.
like, and then I realized it's not about any of those things. It's not about who was there. It wasn't about the fear. It wasn't about, none of that's real. Like, I could not accept who I was in that moment. I couldn't accept that. And you're never going to live up. This is the thing. You're never going to live up to that perfect image, right? I don't even know what that is.
Mm.
It's just that perfect image is when, and this is the other thing is like, I thought, you know, we talk about self-love. I'm like, yeah, I love myself. And you can tell that to yourself. But in that moment with those insecurities, the only thing that could make me feel better was validation from other people.
Yeah.
And so my self-worth, my complete self-worth was hanging by a thread of other people's validation.
Yeah.
So if I perceived that one person didn't like one little bit about it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm worthless, I'm useless, everything's wrong, I'm gonna die, the world's gonna end.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the fear wasn't about doing the meditation and like living my dream and like saying what I want. I can't even love myself.
Yeah.
Like I can't even, like, where do you go? Like everything I've done, all my self-worth is based on what other people say to me.
Yeah.
So that's my basis that I'm coming from. It's a rule, a
Mm.
belief inside of me is that I need other people's validation
Yeah.
to be loved. And if I'm not this perfect character, people won't validate me.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, like I really just sat with that. And yeah, this week has all been about just taking everything out of it.
Mm.
Can I accept myself in this moment?
Mm.
And it's kind of crazy when you think of that,
Mm.
because we talk about like levels of consciousness and like the witness, right? I'm not the mind. And like when you accept yourself and I guess show yourself love and compassion, there's nothing else because you're really accepting that moment and that experience.
Even when you're not getting that validation, even when the person doesn't like it.
Yeah. And so I
Right?
always thought it was about trusting the universe, right?
Mm.
And that experience is perfect because it's exactly what the universe wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But that was still relying on something outside of myself.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about trusting the universe.
Mm.
It's about just accepting myself.
Yeah.
Like that person sitting there, like doing that meditation, can I love him and accept that it was perfect just as it was? And now, so I'm like, every time a fear arises, an anxiety, a stress, anything, doesn't matter what it is. It's can I accept myself in this moment? And then none of it has power. Like if you can, so I don't know, like it's hard to explain, but like when I sit with that, it's like the witness comes up and everything just leaves. And it's just me and I'm present because there's nothing else. It's like I'll go to work and I'll think about, does this shirt match with these pants? And this is the other part I forgot. Sorry. A part of that is that punishment, right?
Yeah.
Because every self-doubt, every worry, every anxiety, like perception of being a certain way, is a rejection of self. And this is what he talks about in the book. So if I do something and I did this meditation, if I'm reflecting on it and there's a fear that arises, I need people to see me this certain way, all I'm doing in my head is just constantly rejecting myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying that person, it was not okay to be that person. I needed to be this person.
Yeah.
And like the simplicity of it is like I go to wear a shirt, right? And I think about, oh, what will this person think? Or should I wear this shirt with these pants? That self-doubt is just me rejecting myself at every level. Like I have to be who I think they want me to be. I can't be me. So it's like, and it just made me realize all of it is rejecting yourself, which is the opposite to self-love, isn't it? So in every moment, every day, every time I think of fear or worry, stress, I'm rejecting myself. And like that was just so eye-opening. I don't know if I explained that well, but I'm accepting myself for what it was because
That's awesome.
I don't know, man, it's changed my view of the world.
Yeah, that's powerful. I've got a couple questions.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of, I think it's the way, man, because we've done a lot of work on self-love and acceptance. And like it's clear to me that you have given that self-love and acceptance to yourself. But a new Adam showed its face, right, on that Sunday.
In the depths of the shadow.
In the depths, and he showed himself and he made himself seen. You know what I mean? You can you can love yourself all you want, but if you don't love that self that you've been, I mean, it's easy. I think it's easy to get caught up in you love like a certain aspect of yourself, right? And it just shuts off everything else. Yeah, I agree. Self-love is about accepting it all
and that's what I mean.
Bringing
Like,
in that new Adam.
I've always bypassed it because, like, I love myself.
Yeah,
I want to be Adam.
It's easy.
Like, and you can call it self-love, acceptance, whatever it is. It's like, and it's like, it's all of it though. It's like, because I've always like trust the universe, like, and that's me trying to, because I'm a control freak, trying to let go of control.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm not then carrying around this bag of worries and stress everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to trust everything.
Yeah.
But even that, it's like I'm still kind of punishing myself because I'm trusting that even though I'm still assuming I was wrong or I did something bad or I'm not good, but I've got to trust the process. You know what I mean? I've got to trust the experience.
And love the process and love the change. That's a scary spot to be in.
But this is the next, what I realized in that was none of that actually really matters.
Yeah.
It's about trusting that that person that did that thing or is in this moment
Mm.
is me.
Mm.
And I'm exactly like I'm meant to be.
Mm.
Everything else is, can I accept?
Mm.
Like, that's it. You know,
Mhm.
like yourself before, like you, when you say you're playing video games,
Mhm.
there was probably something in the back of your mind going, I should be doing this, or I should.
All
That
day.
thought of I should be is you
Mhm.
just rejecting yourself because you in that moment is Jarrod playing video games.
Mm. Yeah.
There's
If
that
we,
belief that you shouldn't be, and you're punishing yourself for that.
yeah.
That's you not accepting yourself. It doesn't fucking matter what you're doing.
Mm. Agreed. And to switch that, right? You changing shirts.
Mm.
Like it doesn't matter that you changed
I've just
shirts.
rejected myself. I've woken up in the
Yeah.
morning straight away.
Mhm.
Nah, you have to be this person. You can't be yourself.
Yeah.
Just unconsciously. Like it's not even like I'm.
Yeah.
So like, how many times a day am I doing that to myself?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I love myself.
Mm.
It's just bullshit
Yeah.
because. So yeah, it's just really cool, man. And like,
Mm.
how many times I've now just caught myself.
Mhm.
Like, when you love yourself, there is
Mhm.
no place or experience that you cannot find beauty in.
Yeah.
Because when you love yourself, there is no fear, there's
Mm.
no worry, there's no stress, there's no anxiety, because everything is perfect just as it is.
Yeah.
So it's not just like loving yourself in the sense like, because love can mean so many things, right?
Mhm.
It's just a complete acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah. And getting rid of that friction,
Mm.
I like to call it. But it's like we've talked about it before, but Ram Dass's quote, like,
I
right?
was,
You're getting on the train.
this is exactly, you just read my mind. Yeah, go.
Yeah. We're getting there anyway.
Yeah.
Why carry this friction? Why carry this self-doubt, this fear? And I've been playing with that a lot recently, like just trying to really, like, when you're in meditation, right? And sometimes you are controlling your breath, and
Yeah.
sometimes you're watching your breath without controlling it. So I'm really trying to step into that place where I just watch my mind operate. You know what I mean? If
Mm.
my mind plays video games all day, it's what happened. You know what I mean? Like my mind, I believe, is smart enough and wants more from this life than to avoid 24/7. And I believe in myself to not go down that path.
And this is, I think this is a good enter into what you would wanted to talk about on different
Yeah,
levels of
yeah,
consciousness, because
yeah,
this is where I've come to now is like, we talk about the monkey mind, right?
yeah,
And there's, I believe that we are not the mind.
yeah,
All right. We're not that monkey mind because that monkey mind is the stress, the worry, the anxiety, the
yeah,
fear, the planning, the victim, the judge, it's everything that creates the dream of the world. It's based
yeah,
on, and it's based on this rule book of beliefs that were formed at a young
yeah,
age, right?
yeah,
And like you said, like there's when you meditate and you can sit, there's a place behind that where you sit and watch that
yeah,
without entering into that.
yeah.
What would
Which
you call
is
that?
awareness,
Yeah,
mindfulness,
yeah,
which is still the mind.
yeah,
It's the mind watching the mind.
yeah.
And I think that is the cornerstone for all of our practice. That's all you get, because that is how you grow. That is how you become the mind that the mind wants to be. Um, I think. Do you want to stay on that for a bit longer? Do you have something
Yeah,
to
so
say?
like I've been doing a meditation, right? And it's
Yeah,
just a mantra. It's so simple. I
yeah,
am not the mind. I am not even the body. And
yeah,
it's breathe in, breathe out. So
yeah,
while you're doing it, it's I think it's Buddhist. I know I could get it wrong, but it's one of those Eastern tradition just mantras.
yeah,
And Sadhguru does it on um,
yeah,
my Insight Timer. But it's the breathing resets your nervous system while you're doing it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're entering, and it goes for like 20 minutes of deep breathing. So you're entering into this state of full body awareness and hearing and sound and consciousness. So you become the watcher, but you let go of the body, you let go of the mind, and it's funny because it kind of finishes with some chanting. And I rarely know whether I'm in the mind or not when I do the chanting, because how concerned am I about the people around me hearing me chanting? Like, it's a really letting go because I'm loud. Like, everyone can hear me. So how much can I let go of that Adam character?
Your neighbors being
Everyone,
like
man.
at dinner the next night, or that loony next door doing chants.
Just yelling, man.
Yeah.
Like, I do it so loud.
Yeah.
But awesome. It's a great practice because it's non-acceptance. Yeah, it's like that judge being like, you can't do this, and it's that rejection of self. So I don't know how above consciousness I am, whether it's just like awareness level, but I got this belief too that I could only really be like that mindful in my meditation. I needed my time. So like after this week, like yesterday, I had to go get like my tire fixed. So real early in the morning, I had to screw on my tire. It's crazy, but usually send me because I hate doing jobs that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have been. Why do I have a brand new tire that's got a screw in it? Anyway, but I took it as an opportunity to like, accept myself, accept the moment. Because things that interrupt my schedule really trigger me. Real like, Anyway, so I had to wait like 20 minutes. I was just sitting in the tire shop, just being like practicing awareness and meditation anywhere, anytime. And just listening to your senses and letting go. And like you said the other day, like you mentioned the monkey mind. And so I'm really trying to make a point of calling that. And when I feel like I'm in those fear and worries, I'm breathing and I'm like, I am not the mind. I'm not even the body. And I can just so clearly see what is the mind.
Yeah.
What is the monkey mind?
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful chant. But I think I hope I put this next thing I'm about to say elegantly. Because it makes a lot of sense in my mind. So as the mind speaks, I am not the mind, I am not the body. It's the mind letting go of its identification with the witness. And it allows us to separate the witness from the mind so that we can experience the mind. The chanting, the meditation, everything that's happening, everything that feels real is the mind. It's like I find it so beautiful. Like I've heard on a few podcasts. I feel free to fact check me on this, right? But a lot of ancient greetings of hello, and even like namaste, right? Interpret into like, I honor the divine light in you that is also in me.
What podcast is that? I listened to that this week too.
Yeah, true. It was a while ago, but I think it's like it's a.
Must be in a Godsy one.
Yeah. So it's like the mind, right? Can't fathom what the witness is, but it knows it's there. And I know it's there in you. And I can honor that because I can see it in me. But the second that I try to bring it into this realm and identification of it, that's where the suffering is. Like, that's where the friction and the heavy judgments are, and the all that puts a
and
box
for me
on
again,
it,
like
think.
As soon as you go to that future or past place, right?
Yeah.
Again, it comes back to me for rejection, because if I go to the past,
Mm.
I'm regretting something, I'm thinking about something that happened. It's just me trying to.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect.
So your attention is on the past. Your awareness is on the
Yeah,
past.
and I'm rejecting myself. I'm
Yeah.
not loving who I was and who I am now, because and then in the future, if I go to the future,
Yeah.
I'm not trusting my future self.
Yeah.
So I'm rejecting that too.
Yeah.
And again, it's not about being present all the time,
Mm.
but it's just about catching it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knowing that fear, that anxiety, that stress, that plan,
Mm.
whether it's good or bad,
Mm.
like, I don't know, for me, trusting and loving my future self, my past self,
Mm-hmm.
who I am now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. See, I think that's awesome. But I like on the topic, I think
Yeah,
that's all
sir.
mind.
Yeah, 100%. Anything
Question.
you can identify with is mind.
Yeah. So question, right? Who am I? Right? Like, I think it is very easy, um, in the spiritual practice to answer that question with I'm the witness. But you can't
Witness is still mind. If you can name it,
answer. See, that's the thing though, right? Like if
you try to
I
understand what the witness is, it's then mind.
Yeah, agreed. But the twist of it is you are the witness, right? But you can't say that because it's the
Yeah.
mind saying that.
Okay, so think this, right?
Yeah.
Because there has to be something greater outside ourselves, right?
Yeah.
But we can't comprehend it because we don't know what it is. And if the mind can't comprehend something,
Yeah. But it
or if it
knows it's
can,
there.
if it can comprehend it, it's mind, right?
Yeah.
Because it's in its world of realm.
Yeah.
So my understanding is of the I,
Mm.
or what I'm trying to see it as in this moment and this time of who Adam is right now.
Mm.
It's just a bunch of chemicals, atoms, neurons
Yeah.
interacting with the environment and this specific moment in time, which is different to every other moment in time.
Yeah.
The mind tries to form all that into an identity and an
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah.
The other side of that, the witness or that higher consciousness, it's just a knowing
Mm.
of this thing,
Mm.
of this experience.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't know Adam is anything. It's
Yeah.
just these
Seeing it,
it's just these
experiencing
atoms and chemicals and everything that's, you can call it soul. I don't know. Like, there's all these words. It's hard because these words mean different things for everyone.
it. Yeah.
And that's the
Agreed.
hard part.
Yeah. And
I
every
think,
time, like I love playing around with this, right? Like I love
yeah,
talking about it because it's so tricky. And
yeah,
we're never, I mean, maybe 60 years we'll be able to have a conversation where it works, but we never,
I
but it's
don't
still
think we
fun.
will.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
cool.
still
I love
fun.
it. It fascinates
Yeah.
me, man. And
Mm.
I think at the end of the day, as long as it helps you be better
Yeah.
as a person and love
Yeah.
yourself and accept yourself in this moment more,
Yeah.
then, and if you're not into that, that's fine. Like,
Mm.
but I think everyone can practice more awareness and more self-love. And now I'm coming more around to, or anything else that you learn,
Mm.
can you love yourself and accept what that really means? Because what else is there? Like,
Yeah.
that's your whole world.
Yeah.
And someone else might love you, right? They're living in a whole different dream.
Yeah.
This is your dream, your reality. If you can't accept it, that's what suffering is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
make
The friction. It's all friction.
the difference between, and like they've shown, right, that Brian, I was listening to this podcast, this guy that, attempted suicide but survived, and he's got a lot of different things, heaps of trauma, and he calls it brain pain,
Mm.
right? And they've shown that brain pain can be like, it was something like 1,000 or 2,000 times more painful than any
Mm.
perception of anything physical pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And to not And like that's all internal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you could be living, well, everyone's living in their own prison.
Yeah.
But how fucking cool is it that you're the one that can get yourself out of it?
Yeah.
And that's just that responsibility, hey? Like
Yeah.
everyone's, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm having one of those good days. Like I had a really down last week. I was really in that shadow.
Yeah.
And this weekend's been really cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
So like you have the ebbs and flows, say, but
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for me to say when but
Mm.
I've been doing a lot of, because like my self-doubt, like you, is really strong. That's why you're saying at the start, you're thinking about that self-doubt and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we want to change those beliefs and characteristics, but
Yeah.
like you don't need to.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
You can go to awareness and be like,
Mm.
like you said, that character, right? You said the two characters are the true self and this other one.
Mm.
You've just got to choose your true one
Yeah. That's all it is. Over time.
and be
Start
aware when
small.
you're not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And that's reflection, right? That's you
Mm,
start 2 days ahead,
mm.
right? So you're like, oh, thinking back to a conversation that you had and you lied or something or you exaggerated. I love exaggerating because I always exaggerate, right? Always. If I'm telling you a story, it's been exaggerated, all right? And then you start 2 days ahead, right? When you're meditating. And then you bring it back to a day ahead when you're meditating. And then you bring it back to an hour after you tell the story. Oh, I exaggerated. And then half an hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And then you catch yourself just as you've done it. And then you can recognize what makes you do it or the scenarios that make you do it. And then you're like, oh, I'm about to exaggerate here. And then you don't do it.
Yeah, but it's even more than that. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, agreed. But
That's exactly who I was in that moment.
yeah, agreed. But I think there is, you know,
But what I'm saying
acceptance in the
is,
changing and the desire to change.
but before you're skipping a step, right?
Mm,
If you accept that person,
yeah.
so much easier to then
Oh yeah. And if you
focus
tell
on what you
yourself the
want.
truth as well,
Exactly.
like I exaggerated. You know how hard it is to
And
say
then
that
giggle at it,
sometimes?
like, yeah,
Yeah,
like that's me. That was me in that moment.
I lied. Yeah, you know how hard it is to say that to yourself sometimes though?
But if
Like
you go,
I messed up.
yeah, but if you see it from that point of view, right?
Mm,
That, that past self, oh, he
mm,
exaggerated. Oh no.
mm,
You know what I mean? I lied. I'm a liar.
mm.
You're punishing yourself, right?
Yeah,
And that pain is what causes you to lie because then you feel even more like you need to be this other person.
yeah. But that's yeah, agreed. But you can say, I think language here is important. Not I'm a liar, but I lied.
Yes,
You know,
100%.
one's okay,
But that's
and one shifts
self-acceptance,
you
isn't
down
it?
into shame. Yeah,
I lied. That's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah,
That's who I was.
yeah,
And that's what you mean. Language is so important. But that's even more like, so like I've stopped drinking a lot this year,
yeah,
right? And it was really hard over the last 2 years of like
yeah,
really being monitoring. But and when you just say like, I'm not gonna drink,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's really hard to do because you're just
yeah,
avoiding a thing.
yeah,
And the underlying reason why you drink isn't being addressed.
yeah,
Now, like, I don't even feel the need to drink. And if I
yeah,
do, that's okay.
yeah,
If I want to have a drink, go for it, man.
yeah,
But like, I've now realized that it was either escaping
mm,
how I felt
mm,
because I couldn't accept myself
mm,
as I was,
yeah,
or I was trying to seek validation
yeah,
because I couldn't accept who I was.
yeah,
So it just came from this repeated self-rejection. And I would put in so much effort to
yeah,
try and please people and fit
yeah,
in. And I'd be so stressed.
mm,
And it still was never enough because
mm,
my self-worth was held up in this belief that I needed other people's validation
yeah,
and I had to be this perfect character that I
yeah,
can't even define or
yeah,
live up to.
yeah,
So now
yeah,
like I sit in a moment if I get stressed and I feel like a drink,
mm,
I'm just like I just accept myself
mm,
And if I want to still have a drink after, cool.
Yeah. I think at a base level, like,
If I don't,
that's fine too. Yeah. That acceptance, right? Trusting the mind wants what's best for itself, I think is huge for me. Like just knowing that the mind,
there's
it feels
different
like
parts of the mind. So this is
it
hard
feels like
because the beer is
yeah,
also fear.
yeah, but it feels like we have to, keep the mind on like a tight leash or some shit like that, or like keep the mind, we have to
Mm.
practice every day so that we practice every day, right? But in essence, the mind wants to survive and it wants to climb like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like it is evolution that we want to get to the top of that pyramid. And when we have enough of this, we move up, right? And the brain is on that journey, right? And I think that trusting that and letting the mind play and figure shit out, so important. Like tell the truth, right? Like
Yeah.
do have a drink, but be honest with yourself. Like that
Yeah.
made me feel horrible
But
the
not
next
from a
day.
place of this is why it's so tricky. Because
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
coming from a place of judgment,
Yeah.
and this is why it's really hard for me because
Yeah.
again, I'm seeing it through my lens.
Yeah.
And I guess my ideals and my past experiences of what you're talking about is very different to yours.
Yeah.
And so, I guess how I can get there might be a little bit different to how you get there.
Yeah. That's a good
Um,
point. I'm open to that
but
idea.
what I guess that drinking thing meant for me might be a little bit different, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think what you said, yeah, seeing the mind as a monkey mind that's just playing around, right? Yes, it's just trying to attain these things, but we do have power of intention and where we focus our attention as well.
Yeah. But that's a part of the mind, right? Like that is.
Yes.
But we can ignore that, right? Like we can talk me and you right now as the mind.
100% we're all mind.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but
Yeah.
there's different levels
Yeah.
of awareness, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And different levels of mind too, right? Like so this is a
100%.
higher mind talking to the monkey
This
mind.
is my now self that has
Yeah.
experienced these things
Yeah.
versus the inner child that is
Yeah.
freaking out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
reminding myself
Yeah.
I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah.
And it's that awareness to catch the monkey mind
Yeah.
before it goes down a rabbit hole of,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah.
yes, it's all mine, but that's getting very technical, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
I just think at a base level to
Yeah.
help ourselves.
Yeah. It's easy to just speak as if though we're outside of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and through terminology and stuff, it's easy to see. Yeah. I
We have to
think it's,
accept that 95% of what we do is
yeah.
unconscious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why I think
And there's a few different players.
reflection and those conscious moments are so important.
Yeah.
And the daily practice, because
Yeah.
you left untended,
Yeah.
your subconscious will run riot.
Yeah. On these 95%
Yeah.
of beliefs that are false.
That aren't true.
True. Can I pose something to you?
Yeah.
That was just another question from your story. So when you mentioned that you're maybe highly empathetic, would you agree?
Depends on your definition of empathy.
Yeah. Well, it
I
sounds to me that you take on a lot of other people's emotions. You
Yeah.
clue on to that. So within yourself, right? Someone
sensitive,
has,
I guess.
Yeah.
To
Some,
other people's energies, which is emotions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether I assume them to be what they are or not, I
Yeah.
assume and take on what I believe them to be. Yes.
Yeah. So in that, say someone has a negative response to your meditation.
Yeah.
Well, and there, can we go there? Oh, I frozen? No, we're
Sorry,
good.
you just froze. What did you say?
Yeah. No, you're good. Can we go there? So
If someone does, I
yeah,
went there on Sunday. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so
Holy shit, man. It's
mm,
my whole world crashed because I'm
yeah,
living on this belief that I need other people's validation
yeah. But
and
what?
I need
Okay,
everyone to like me.
yeah. Can we go under that? Right. What what happens to you? What do you feel when someone is having a negative experience around you, or
Uh,
someone
I'll
is?
tighten like my gut. I start to feel sick,
Mm-hmm.
my neck. Um, I'll just really just feel like my insides just like tighten and I just start reflecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to justify my story. My story's changed
Mm-hmm.
because maybe I could have convinced myself that I was this
Mm-hmm.
perfect person, but now my brain is running riot trying to figure out where it sits. So
Mm-hmm.
it's analyzing every single moment. The analytical mind really comes out and
Mm-hmm.
tries to find a reason and a justification
Mm-hmm.
as to why that person said that
Mm-hmm.
or punish me
Mm-hmm.
or
So that you
not.
don't do it again.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Um. So can we get to a place where so that's a reaction, correct?
Correct.
You
Trigger,
trying to
real
either,
big trigger.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you're in reactive mode. You're either trying to change that person's experience, or you're trying to change, I don't know, justify what you did, and you know,
Yeah, and none of that works. The only real thing that would work would be then to avoid next time, not do it,
yeah,
shut down.
yeah. And I can,
Because I've
I,
I believe that person's word. I've agreed to it, 4 agreements.
yeah,
I've taken that very personally,
yeah,
and I've agreed that that's true. No
yeah,
matter what everyone else, 10 people could have told me,
yeah,
they loved it.
yeah. Um, agreed. So we're in that reactive mode. The place, can we get to a place where we're okay with them feeling bad? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, but I think the realization was it wasn't about them.
Yeah, agreed. It's about you and you fixing your stomach tightening.
Yeah, and it's about,
But that's
you know,
something that you can do, right? That is, like, instead of trying to change their perspective or change the
well,
future
I
you.
wouldn't. That's trying to happen in my mind. I wouldn't
Yeah,
actually say that to them.
yeah,
It's just
of
me
course.
trying to grab a grip on reality to find out where I sit. Like my brain is
Yeah,
scattering every possible outcome, like situation.
yeah,
I wouldn't actually go to that person and try to change their mind.
yeah, yeah, agreed. How do we become comfortable with that? How do we become,
That's what I mean. Like I'm just now like
mm,
it's that person does that, right?
mm,
Not taking that personally, one,
mm-hmm, yeah,
which isn't necessarily easy to do.
yeah,
It's not about me.
yeah,
And then it's just that self-love. Like
yeah,
that person in that moment
mm,
is me in that moment.
yeah.
There's nothing else. All
That
the fears,
feeling that,
worries,
yeah,
stress, that's the mind. That's the
yeah,
monkey mind.
yeah,
So it's about, I guess, and I haven't had this big a trigger since. So it's easy.
yeah,
I've had triggers, don't get me
yeah,
wrong, and I've sat with it,
yeah,
but I haven't had as big a trigger since. So it's easy to say, but yeah, it's just practice, isn't it? I'm trying my best
yeah,
to not take it personally,
yeah,
not assume I know that person's
yeah,
worldview,
yeah,
and know that that's my reaction is about me.
yeah,
And I don't need to, that's just that person's experience.
yeah,
I can love myself.
yeah,
Can I, like you said before, can I admire a quality that some people, if you put yourself in the arena, you
mm,
open yourself up to that, like that vulnerability. Can I see that as courage?
yeah. And
Can
that's
I
the biggest
turn that
thing.
learning into wisdom?
Yeah, yeah. It's that I think becoming comfortable in that neglected state,
Sitting with discomfort.
sitting with that discomfort, because in reality, right, or your perception of reality, nothing is really going on.
No,
Yeah.
but that's what I mean. We're all a dream, aren't we?
Yeah.
My
But
brain's screaming death. Like,
yeah,
you are
this
dead.
person doesn't accept me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to change that.
And the closer that person is to you, it's very different, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But what a powerful, like, that's a beautiful place that I hope to be in one day. And I think that's the practice.
Yeah. But that's
Is
also what
helping me
someone
get
said to
there.
me is like, that reaction was because I cared. Like, that showed how much I cared about that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's why that shadow was so much bigger.
Yeah.
But that also gave me such a bigger learning. You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't have that experience, if I didn't reflect on it, I don't know. This week's just been different. I've still struggled, man. Like, but I'm starting to, you know what I mean? Like, I gave myself time this week. Usually I wouldn't. I'm like, oh, I need to. There was a part of me, like I said earlier, there's a part of me that knows when I'm not right. And I had a massive week of work, and I just needed my own time and space to sort my brain out, like to sit with myself.
Yeah.
And usually I'll be thinking about every possibility that someone wouldn't, then it might threaten some perfect image of me, perception of me somewhere, of giving myself that time and space.
Yeah.
But that's just, now I'm just like, that's exactly, it's letting go. It's letting go of everything and only focusing on, can I love myself for exactly, can I accept this moment? And if I can't accept this moment, why am I focusing on other moments?
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. And I think going through those moments where you do fail, right? And it is hard. I think that's if you can accept yourself in that, like imagine what else you can do. Like that's the cool stuff, I reckon. But we are in the driver's seat. I think that's the point that I'm trying to get across. That like receive all the negative feedback in the world. You're in the driver's seat of how you
You're
feel.
responsible. Yeah.
You are responsible for
People's,
how you
at the same
feel.
time, people's words, conversely, right? People's words, your word can have real impact on people.
Yeah, but who's to say that it's not coming from a place of love?
Yeah, and how can we not be responsible for our own well-being, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just think if everyone agreed to that, those 4 agreements, and they tried their best to live to that, world would be a very different place. And that's no spiritual stuff involved in that, right? It's just being impeccable with your word, how you talk to self and others, telling yourself the truth, trying not to take things personally as much as you can, not being reactive.
That's a world, right? That's a world where you finish that meditation and someone who didn't resonate it comes up to you and tell you that was shit. Right? That is that world.
Yeah, but I just completely, that doesn't trigger me anymore. Like it might in a moment, but I've been through that trigger and I've like worked out what caused that trigger. I don't know. I feel like now I'd kind of like half smile and be like,
yeah. See,
can I
that's the
accept
cool
myself?
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's like a little game in my head now. It's like,
yeah,
as much as I want to freak out, and that's your stuff. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you could listen to the same meditation 20 days in a row and have a different experience every time, because your world is so different every time.
Always changing.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that's the place where it starts. In that moment.
But like I knew that, and I knew all these things, right? And I knew it wasn't about me, and I knew I was just offering this place, and like people, and everyone was showing love, and I knew all those things. But my belief system was that I needed validation.
Yeah, but we don't get that too often, right? Like it's easy to practice fear every day because it's always there, but rejection and stuff.
Yeah, we don't realize it's there. It is there.
Yeah.
But like even like, oh, like people rejecting you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's different because we don't put ourselves. But like rejecting
Yeah.
yourself happens.
All the time.
Now that I've been aware of it, man, like that's
It's like I
like in me.
rejected myself first.
Yeah, I was looking at my hair before we started this, but I was just
Yeah.
like having so many rejections about like I need to go. But like,
Yeah.
you're fine, man. And like that's on other people. That's their decision. You know what I mean? Like I'm responsible for my word, my actions, my thoughts, my world.
And it's a beautiful world.
So I'm learning to love myself. That's my
Mm.
my thing. And like it's funny, like yeah, it's loving that monkey mind too without buying into it. Like you can still get caught up on all those fears, worries. But sitting with it.
Agreed. It's cool. You're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I just think I've been trying to change so many things,
Mm.
and underneath that was just like
Mm.
the essence of all my struggles.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not saying I'm done. Like, I'm aware
Yeah.
of what.
Just another step on the million step
Yeah, and I'm
staircase.
sure next week it'll be something different. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. Oh yeah. Thank you for today's chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought that was cool. Got my fire
Mm.
energized.
Bit of passion in today's episode.
Bit of passion.
But
See if I can go and sit and accept myself this afternoon. Because that's the other one, man. Like I've done so much work this week that I kind of got not too much to do this afternoon.
Nice.
Can I accept myself while playing a game or watching a movie? You know, that doing mind. I need to do all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I accept that part of me too? Rest. Rest is important.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone needs to hear that, get out of your doing mind and just
Yeah.
give yourself a break.
Yeah. Learn to rest. It's important. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you, man. Love these chats, eh? Like
So good.
it's just because they're locked in too. It's good.
Oh.